Hello, welcome to Physics 114. You are listening to Lecture 1. This is the first of the series of the video lectures for Physics 114 that you will be watching throughout this semester. These videos are relatively, shall we say, low production value. They're going to be one take. They're going to be relatively short compared to, say, an hour-long or 2-hour-long lecture that you might get in person, and it will have lots of different components to it. But overall, the goal of these lectures is that you'll be able to have a coherent picture of all the different things that we'll be learning throughout this class, and overall, by the end of the semester, what will you have? This coherent structure about the physics that you will be needing to know as you move forward in your learning experience as a nursing student. Now, let me share with you right away the first part of the first day handout and syllabus, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. Now, what you should all understand is that this I'm showing you now is just the first few lines of a big syllabus that you will be able to access online at all times. But if you want, you could print out a copy and leave it for yourself so you can read it throughout the semester. Okay, this is going to be something we'll be aiming for throughout. But right at the very beginning, take a look at what we're looking at here. The Physics 14 is a physics course indeed that fulfills an important requirement for students in nursing programs. Some of you are not nursing students. If you're not, welcome. You are also very welcome to be here and learning with us, okay? But now, it has three components. This asynchronous lecture and homework component, a synchronous recitation component, which is also online and it was required, so you have to attend at least one of those recitation sections per week, and a synchronous lab, which you will be going to campus in all likelihood and participating in while you're there with an instructor there and a technician there. Okay, so this is all part of this whole class. Be ready for it. Each part is integrated together into the whole, and each part is essential. You can't skip one, you can't miss one, and still pass the course. Okay, so be ready for that and understand how that all works. And you can see that the course learning objectives are listed right here. These are the three things that we want you to walk away with. All right. One is pretty simple, but very, very important. Two is the meat of the course, the things that you'll be doing a lot of, learning a lot of, we hope, during the semester. And then three is the stuff you'll be mostly doing in lab, but also in the homeworks, doing a lot of calculation, doing a lot of playing, a lot of just manipulating the world and the things inside it, because that's what physics is all about. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for the moment, but remember, refer to this document often. I will. Now, the next step of this video, this is what you have to do. There is what's called the study guide for every lecture. And for every video asynchronous lecture like this one, you will have to have something like this. See, this is the study guide. Now, the study guide is something you have to turn in. You have to write it by hand. Most of the time you'll turn it in digitally, but other times you're going to bring it onto campus and hand it in lab class. So this is about the lecture, but you still have to write it by hand, okay? And what's really important is that it is being filled out while you watch the lecture. So you need a copy of this study guide with you right now, okay? If you can't print it out, that's okay. All you need to do is to get it on digital copy and get a piece of paper and a pencil. I prefer pencil. I recommend pencil because then you can erase, okay? But get a pencil. And then what you do is you write down your answers based on the study guide. And then when you get a chance to print out the study guide, you fill in the study guide, you hand it in. Okay, that handwritten notes, answers, say, for the study guide, is still important. Don't throw that away, okay, because that's still evidence that you were doing it, and you want to keep these kinds of things. But what needs important is you have to fill this out. You have to turn in the study guide. And the way to do the study guide, again, is to do it while you are watching. Some of it you'll fill out beforehand, some of it you'll fill out during, and some of it you'll fill out after. Okay, so if you don't have it with you right now, go get the study guide. Okay, Get it set up digitally, read it first, or print it out, read it first, and then we'll continue with the lecture because it's really important. Okay, so go ahead and get it. Pause the video if you don't have it with you. I got time. Take a moment. Okay, go get the video. I mean, excuse me. I am the video. I am the video. Go get the study guide. Okay, get the study guide. Okay, got the study guide? Good. Here we go. Study guide. Take a look at it. Okay, hopefully you've read it and you're going to sign it. And then in this study guide, there are some numbers that you want to fill out based on your phone number, W, X, Y, Z. Add up these things, put these numbers in and things like that. And then write down the answers to question number 1, the start time and the start date approximately. Okay, so that was a few minutes ago if you started it earlier. If you're about to start it now, go ahead. But that's what that part is. Okay, ready? Filling all that out. Again, pause the video if you need to. Fill it out. Okay, good. All right, so let's get started. Here are the questions, and here are the things that we are going to answer. All right, let's go back to the syllabus for just a moment so that you can see what we're talking about. All right, now, after this video, you will be going back to this syllabus. You'll be reading it some more. And then you'll notice also that there is the second lecture, which is called the course grading and other policies type video, some name like that. Okay. And what you're going to do is read it carefully and watch that carefully so that it'll go through all the different pieces of the syllabus. But right now we're going to go and kind of move from this syllabus right on to the parts that are relevant for lecture 1 and this study guide. All right. So course materials and textbook, all that sort of stuff we'll talk about later. This is what we're going to discuss immediately. Okay, the introduction to physics. And this class, all the different pieces, they're basically 12 pieces, approximately 12, 13, 14 weeks in the semester. And these are the 12 topics that we'll be covering. Right, they're in 3 parts, and you can see that they are arranged roughly in about the same amount of time for each section, but there will be variations over the course of the semester. The first part is about physics in general. What's the point of it? How does it work? Second part, the 4 primary vital signs. We'll get to that in another moment. And then finally, the physics of the human senses. How do we see? How do we touch? How do we hear? Things like that. Okay. Finally, formula and equations. Okay. This is important. Every physics class has a set of these equations. That's okay. What are equations? They're just things written in the language of math. Math is actually not that hard of a language to become very good at. All right. I am going to show these to you right now, but we're going to talk about them one at a time over the course of the semester. You don't have to worry about them right now. Memorizing these is easier than memorizing, say, vocabulary words in a foreign language. They really are. And it's sentences and it's ways that we can look at the universe and understand how things work. All right. So we're going to be referring to this outline often throughout the semester. And today we are going to focus on 1. Okay. Notice that with every topic, there are questions. Use these questions as sort of like milestones or key points on the map of the course. Right? Why is physics a science I should learn and care about? I am a nurse, or I'm going to be a nurse, or I want to be a nurse. What is the point of physics? Okay, that's what we're going to talk about for the rest of this video, lecture 1. So you ready? All right, here's the story. What is physics and why should I care? Why should you care? You might be thinking to yourself, I am going to be a nurse. Why do I care about physics? Who cares, right? Physics, you might have experienced in your life as something that is scary, something that is abstract, something that is difficult, something that people warn you off from, right? Something that maybe people look like me wearing white lab coats in some remote airless laboratory somewhere, studying around complicated machines, and then therefore, boring, blah, blah, blah. No, that is not physics. Unfortunately, that is how physics has been portrayed throughout the history of physics. That's unfortunate, okay, because that's not what it is. We just, I don't know, sometimes we physicists get so wrapped up in how cool it is that we forget that it's important to communicate to other people how cool it is. And so part of this class is for you to understand how cool physics is. Physics is really neat. At its core, physics is the mathematical, human, non mathematical, human, also explanation. It's the way that we try to understand our world and our universe around us. Okay? And is actually really important in nursing. It's really important in medicine. It's really important, period, in life. Think about this. Okay? Remember, you're about to become a nurse, right? Why do you think it's called physical education? Why do you think it's called physical therapy? Yeah? Why do you call it, why is it called physical fitness? Right? Physics is not called chemical therapy or biological therapy or mathematical therapy, although those therapies do exist. Physics is so much a key to nursing that people who are familiar with physics, you don't even have to like get an A in a physics class or something like that. But if you're familiar with physics, if you have a basic understanding of physics, you don't have to be a physicist, but if you are basically familiar with physics, turns out that you are likely to make more money and be more successful as a nurse than your compatriot with the same amount of education, with the same degree as you, with the same years of experience, but without that understanding of physics. How is this possible, you ask? It just is. And no one ever tells people that. They should. That's why this particular program of nursing here at the College of Staten Island requires you to take nursing. Excuse me, requires you to take physics. See, I told you this was one take. That's not going to be edited, okay? Just so you know. Imagine that we're just sort of at a chalkboard or something. I'm in a room and I'm talking and I'm just kind of going on and on and on. That's the story. You will make more money. In fact, you may make twice as much money over the course of your career than somebody who has not taken a physics program and become familiar with physics as a nurse. I got to give you an example because this is true. Okay. There's a friend of mine I've had since high school. She is a nurse. She's actually a nurse practitioner and she works in the city and she helps to run an entire ward. She's a specialist. For her privacy, I won't tell you exactly where she works and what she does. But we were just talking about this over dinner a couple of months ago. And I said, we're going to do this physics class and it's going to be asynchronous online and it's going to be for nurses and we aim for that sort of thing. And she's like, that's great. You tell those nursing students that what I do every day is physics. Remember, this is a nurse. And she was saying when she was in nursing school, she actually had to retake chemistry because she didn't do well enough on it the first time. It was difficult for her. It was embarrassing. It was humiliating. It was a challenge for her as a human being. But she did it anyway because she really wanted to be a nurse. And then afterwards, as she went on and she got her master's degree, and now, as I said, she's a nurse practitioner, she realized that a lot of what she was doing was chemistry. But just as much as what she was doing was physics. So physics has actually made her be a better nurse. It has her understanding of what to do under certain circumstances because of her insight in physics is what has brought her to her position today. I dare say that her salary is higher than mine. So I will tell you this. You will learn something valuable in this class. It will be worth it. Physics, right? As a way of explaining and understanding, and therefore being able to manipulate or to alter or to change or to improve the world around us, the universe around us, help the people around us. physics is that. Okay. Now, of course, physics is much more complicated than just a single tagline. So there are several other things about physics, several other aspects of physics that you will explore in some of the other videos that you'll be watching for lecture one. Like I said, lecture one, this is a video, yes, but it's not the only video you'll be watching. This video, yeah, low production value. I might have a few, props, a few effects. I might say some things. I might, sing and dance and jump around or something. But my video is to provide you with the basics of the physics and the outline and the structure. Detailed explanation of physical concepts a lot of other people have done, and they've done it really well. All right. They've used videos and they're available publicly for us to use. So we're going to do that. All right. That's part of the reason why this lecture is going to be shorter than like an hour. All right. It doesn't have to be that long. You will watch other videos. Couple series that we're going to be using a lot. Okay. One series is by Georgia Public Broadcasting Education. They, during pandemic times, bless them, started this video series basically about physics, about a certain part of physics, which is about half of what this course is. It's kinematics and mechanics, how energy, how force, how momentum, and those kinds of things work together in our universe, our world, and even our hospitals. Okay. The other video series will be depending a lot on is created by a woman named Diana Cohen. She goes by Physics Girl on YouTube. You may have seen some of Physics Girl's videos. Anyway, Diana went to MIT as an undergraduate, did some graduate work, and decided that she wanted to devote her career to explaining and showing cool physics to everybody who was interested. And so she's got a whole body of work over the years describing and showing really cool physics phenomena. At the same time, she has created sort of a study guide of videos, a set of videos that are relevant to us, although you'll see them couched in sort of a different course, like it might be referred to as AP Physics 1 or something like that. But really, the concepts of the physics are exactly the kinds of things we'll be talking about here. So, Physics Girl and the GPBE Physics in Motion series are two series that you'll be referring to a lot in the study guides. And I'll talk about them every once in a while here as well, in linking in the kinds of things we're talking about. Okay? So that's what physics is. Physics has got math in it. Okay? Now, some of you might have a troubled relationship with math. And I get that. I understand it. In fact, Albert Einstein once said, "Do not worry about your troubles with mathematics." He said this in German, so this is a translation. I can assure you that my troubles in mathematics are even greater. What did he mean by that? Well, in my opinion, math can be learned as a language. Okay? Think about some foreign language. Mm, Maybe you speak another language. Maybe you speak Spanish or French or Chinese or Russian or Swahili, uh, anything. Now imagine that you didn't speak. Let's pick a language. Bengali. Okay. Let's say you did not speak Bengali and you are traveling to Bangladesh. All right, and you land in the capital city, Accra, and wait a sec. Is Accra the capital of Bangladesh? I better check. I apologize. I better check to be sure. Let's see. Accra. Maybe Accra is the capital of Ghana. Accra. Yes, Accra is the capital of Ghana. Bangladesh capital is Dhaka. Oh man, how embarrassing. Sorry, everybody who's from Dhaka. Um, anyway, uh, let's say you're going to Dhaka, okay, in Bangladesh. And you fly in, and you know what? Most people speak English in Bangladesh. So you're in Dhaka, and you fly in, and you're okay. You get along pretty well. Everybody is able to speak with you. You're able to speak with everybody. Cool. Then you go further and further into the countryside. All right. Let's say you go away from the city, And then now there are fewer and fewer people that actually speak English. What's going to happen to you? You can still speak English a little bit. They kind of understand, right? But it becomes harder and harder. And let's say you're trying to provide some service, or you're trying to get some service. You want to find the bathrooms, or you want to read the newspaper, or you want to help somebody who is injured, or maybe you're a traveling nurse. That's why you're in Bangladesh. Who knows, right? And you trying to communicate. Well, you might have a hard time. And then you go to a place where maybe a town or a city or a village where basically no one speaks English. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is a disaster. Yeah, I mean, you can't even find the bathrooms, right? But you spent time there. And first of all, you notice that like there are 5-year-olds that speak Bengali just fine, right? So obviously Bengali is not like a difficult thing. It's not a thing that like you can never master. I mean, 5-year-olds do it, right? So therefore you can learn it. And it takes time. You spend time in the village, in this town, in this city, right? You start speaking to people. You watch the TV, you read the newspapers, you see what's going on in the street signs, you start talking to people. Eventually, you start being able to communicate. You can find the bathrooms. You can find the grocery store. You can find the bottle of whatever drink you would like to drink that day. That sort of thing. And then over time, you move forward, you become better, you communicate, and then you become fluent in that language. You can get the jokes. You can tell jokes. You laugh, you play, you have fun. You become literate in that environment. Okay. And that means that you can function so well. And it wasn't like that language barrier was hard to get past. It takes time. And sometimes you're a little embarrassed. Sometimes you're worried you say the wrong thing, that sort of thing. Yes. Well, you know what? That's physics. That's almost a perfect analogy of my life as a scientist. When I started learning physics, it was like that too. What is this equation? What is this language? At first, you get a little bit, you're pretty good at it. I was able to speak maybe, what they say, the 5-year-old level. And I was fluent in it and I did a good job in physics class as a high school student, whatever. Okay. Then you get to college. And then, whoa, all of a sudden I'm sitting there going, ooh, this is a challenge. And a lot of it was the math because the language of physics, in large part, is math. It's the translation of what we talk about using our regular language into a mathematical, reproducible structure that would then allow us to understand the universe and the world on a deeper level than we otherwise could. So I had to learn a lot of math. I had to really get good at the math so that I could understand the science. But it worked out. Realizing that, you know what, I don't have to be a world class mathematician immediately. I don't have to get A's in all of my classes in math. In fact, I didn't. I don't have to get all A's in my classes in physics. And by the way, I didn't. But over time, you build the literacy, you build the language skills in the math, and you start being able to manipulate them, you start being able to understand them, put them in the proper context in the language, and it was designed so for we could understand them in math, and then eventually in the English language, or in Bengali, or in whatever language that you speak. So that is how math relates to physics. That is how physics relates to physics and to us and to life in general, right? There's a language barrier, but the actual stuff is not that hard. And once you get that math, once you get a little tiny bit, right? Doesn't have to be a lot, little tiny bit of math and a little bit of physics, it starts building on itself. And over time, you get this appreciation of it. Maybe it'll take days, maybe it'll take weeks, maybe it'll take months or years, but there will come a time when you're doing something saying, oh, yeah, that's physics. That's the physics stuff I understood. And you're like, whoa, it's an epiphany. It's a cool thing. And then that's when it starts to benefit your career. That's when it starts to benefit your life in other tangible ways. Just like my friend, the nurse, who now sees that it was physics all along that has helped pave her career path. Now, That might not happen for you. You might choose a different path. But trust me, you will be surprised, pleasantly surprised, at how much physics is in your nursing career, is in your healthcare career, is in your life in general. And the more you know, na, 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 the better a nurse you will be. And most likely, the more profitable nursing will be for you. All right? Physics, yes. Math, the language. Physics, the literature, the poetry, the epic, the novel. But this is not made up stuff. This is real. The world is made in amazing ways. If you just take the laws of physics and then the scientific theories that come from those laws, we really know a lot about how the human body works, how we work, how the world works. It can only be good. All right? So I want you to take the rest of this course with that feeling. I haven't said it in the most eloquent way. And like I said, this is just one take. But watch the other videos too. See what they have to say. Start understanding the kinds of things that we're doing in this class. And then when you're in lab, play, have fun in the lab. All right? There are equipment, there are little pieces, there are things to slide around. Don't just, if you can help it, do the assignment, get whatever's done, and take off. No, say, hey, I get to play with this stuff. Anyway, you're paying good money to be in class, right? So use it. Have fun with it. And your lab instructor will help you. Your recitation instructor will help you. Learn things you don't quite understand. Think of them as your interpreters in a foreign land. Think of them as your facilitators of learning, of play, of being able to do things so that someday you will use this knowledge and realize that it wasn't just, oh, I had to memorize it for a test and then forget it and whatever, blah, 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 blah. No, it will be fun. You will know it in yourself and you will be able to use it and enjoy it and then pass it on using your knowledge to help people. Okay? So that's what I have to say for this particular thing about what is physics and why should I care. You will hear the Georgia Public Broadcasting Education folks give their take on what is physics. You will hear physics girl Diana Cohen's take on what is physics. Synthesize them. Start thinking about them. And that's lecture 1. Okay? So lecture 2, I will, well, you know what? Lecture 2 comes after the course policies and grading lecture. So you should watch that course policies and grading lecture. And then lecture 2 will come in, and that will be about what is science on a deeper level. And I look forward to sharing that with you at that time. Okay? Thank you so much. I will see you again in the next video that you watch. Remember, that should be course policies and grading. Okay. And then after that, lecture 2 about science. Thanks. See ya.